All right, today we are diving deep into the AI dilemma. And it's a messy one. It's a story of amazing convenience that is constantly clashing with some really serious questions about control. It's a frantic race for innovation that's running up against the slow, deliberate pace of regulation. And it's a totally hyped up market that might be facing a major reality check. So let's get right into it.
I want to kick things off with a pretty direct question for you. What if AI is already running your life? And I don't mean in some far-off sci-fi kind of way, but in a very practical, everyday sense. Because honestly, all the evidence is pointing to the fact that AI's influence is way deeper, way more pervasive, and a lot more integrated into our lives than most of us probably even realize.
And that brings us to the first big idea we need to wrap our heads around. Start thinking of AI, and specifically let's talk about Google's Gemini, not as some app you choose to open, but more like an invisible operating system that's starting to run in the background of, well, everything.
I mean, just look at how widespread this already is. Gemini is basically the connective tissue that links your smart home to the phone in your pocket. It's summarizing your work documents. It's even powering sports analysis for the World Series. And on top of that, it's helping students study and playing a role in disaster response. See, it's not just one thing. It's becoming a foundational layer for your entire digital life.
Now, what I find really telling here is the human side of this shift. This quote from someone who's worked at Google for a long time gets right to the heart of why this is all happening. We're getting tired of bloated, ad-filled search pages. We're starting to prefer a direct, conversational answer. It's a really fundamental change in how we look for information. But of course, all this incredible power and convenience, it comes with a price. And that leads us to the central conflict of this whole AI era, the bargain. It's a bargain that we're all making, whether we know it or not, between unbelievable convenience on one hand and our own personal control on the other.
Just take the smart home. The convenience is amazing, right? Gemini for Home can take hours of security footage and just summarize it into a quick brief for you. But the flip side is you have an always-on conversational AI in your house. And that's the core of the dilemma. To get that amazing utility, you're basically inviting a system into your most private space that is, by design, constantly listening and collecting data. And we're seeing that exact same bargain with these new AI-powered web browsers. The promise is a little more efficiency, an AI agent that can summarize a long article for you. But security experts are weaving a huge red flag here. They're warning about something called prompt injection. So what is that? Well, it's basically where an attacker can hide malicious instructions on a website, instructions you can't see, but the AI can. And it can trick that AI into stealing your data, sending your file somewhere else, or even making online purchases without your permission. It's a tiny bit of convenience for a potentially massive security risk.
So all this tension has kicked off an absolutely frantic race. It's the blistering speed of innovation versus society's attempt to build some guardrails. And as you're about to see, the regulators are finally starting to catch up.
Whoa, look at this number. That is a 1 with 26 zeros after it. And it's not just for shock value. This number represents a measure of computing power called flops, and it's the official trigger for California's brand new Frontier AI law. This is how they're targeting the most powerful, potentially riskiest AI models out there. And let me tell you, this law has some serious teeth. It's the first of its kind. It forces companies to publish transparency reports before they can release a new model. They have to publicly disclose any safety problems. They have to publish their safety and governance plans. It means safety isn't just a nice to have anymore. It's a legal requirement.
And it is definitely not just California. The European Union is investigating Meta and TikTok for transparency breaches. Here in the US, there's a push for an AI exports program. And these concerns are popping up everywhere, from healthcare, where they're trying to stop AI from making bad diagnoses, all the way to, get this, state wildlife departments having to warn hunters not to trust AI because it's literally making up hunting regulations. So while governments are racing to make rules, the market is racing to make money. And that's creating its own set of intense contradictions. So let's follow the money for a minute, because underneath all the hype, there's a pretty wild economic story playing out, full of hope and some pretty harsh realities.
This chart just shows the disconnect perfectly. On the one hand, spending on AI is so massive it's adding over a full percentage point to GDP growth. That's huge. But at the exact same time, a quarter of all small businesses say they're in survival mode, and other big sectors like construction are flat or even shrinking. So what does that tell us? It suggests the economic boom from AI, for now at least, is staying concentrated in the tech world and isn't lifting everybody else up.
And you can see this exact same split personality inside a single company, like Meta. The bull case, the optimistic story, is that they're investing a staggering $27 billion in a new data center for AI. But the bear case, the pessimistic one, is that they're also laying people off in their key AI divisions and are facing fines in Europe that could cost them 6% of their global sales. The crazy thing is, both of these stories are true at the same time. This is the kind of hype we're seeing in the market right now. A company called SoundHound AI is trading at 56 times its sales. That is an absolutely extraordinary valuation that basically requires years and years of perfect execution just to make sense of it.
But now, let's immediately contrast that insane market hype with this reality. Widespread layoffs. Google, Microsoft, Meta, Salesforce, Accenture, the list just goes on and on. Now, here's the crucial thing to understand. This isn't just a simple downturn. In many cases, these cuts are happening because companies are aggressively shifting money towards AI. They're cutting whole divisions to pour billions into AI development, and they're automating jobs, creating this really volatile and scary landscape for workers, even as those AI stock valuations are going through the roof.
So, after all that, where does this leave us? Well, this isn't just a story about tech and money. It's really a cultural negotiation. It's about how we as a society figure out how to live with and create with these incredibly powerful new tools.
On one side of that negotiation, you've got these powerful, skeptical voices, like the amazing director Guillermo del Toro. He literally compares the current moment to the story of Frankenstein, a pretty stark warning about the hubris of creating things you don't fully understand without thinking about the consequences. And yet, despite those really valid fears, it kind of looks like pragmatism is winning out. Newsrooms are already testing AI-written articles, with human editors, of course. Designers are using tools like Sora 2 for video projects. Artists are using AI outputs as just another kind of raw material. And even OpenAI is working with Juilliard students to train music tools. People are just figuring out how to make it work for them. And that really is the most important takeaway from all of this. This isn't some simple story of humans versus machines. It's a messy, complicated, ongoing negotiation. Right now, we are all actively setting the rules, we're drawing the boundaries, and we're deciding together what we truly value as we head into this new era. So I'll leave you with this final thought. AI is already writing, it's creating, and it's making decisions. It is actively shaping our world, with or without our permission. The only real question left is, what role are you going to choose to play in all of it? Thanks for tuning in.